Well, the ABS system is coming to the MLB in 2026. The Brewers have clinched the best record in all of baseball. The Tigers and the Mets are choking, and the Reds are on the run. And Daniel Jones and the Colts continue to win. How are they doing that? I don't know. How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Talking Sports. I am your host, Andrew, doing a solo episode today, once again. If you can't tell from my voice, I'm sad I don't have my buddy Miles with me today, but hopefully he's not too mad at me for making this episode today. I think he would really want to do this. So, Miles, if you do end up finding this, I'm sorry, but I had to do this. And if you want to leave your thoughts in the comments, feel free to do so. If you want to take this episode down, by all means, go ahead and we can schedule another time, buddy. But with that being said, let's talk about what we got planned for today, or what I got planned for today, I guess. I'm going to start off by talking about a little bit of news to start off today. I got some NBA stuff. I got some stuff about the Ryder Cup currently going on in the golf world. I got some baseball news that I got to talk about. It's mostly going to be baseball news for that news segment. And then I'm going to get to talking about and recapping week 3 of the NFL. And there were some good games, there's some ugly games. We're going to talk about all of it. Again, I'm going to talk about all of it, unless Miles really wants to come on and do an episode and kind of remake this and do this. So if you don't see this, if you see this for like 5 minutes and then it gets taken down, you know who and why it's not on here anymore. So let's go ahead and get into the news segment. Let's start by talking about the Ryder Cup. All right, so right now the Ryder Cup between the United States and the European team. Right now the European team is leading the US 12-5, and we are 17 of 28 matches through the day. This is the final day of this year's Ryder Cup. The United States need to win 4.5 matches to win today's win the match overall, I should say, and Europe needs to get 14 to retain the lead. If I'm being quite honest, I have no idea what I just said or what it all means, but I'm just relaying the facts of the score and what I'm seeing. Right now, Cameron Young is competing against Justin Rose, and I believe that Cameron Young is ahead right now. Same with Justin Thomas against Tommy Fleetwood. Justin Thomas is ahead. And between Bryson DeChambeau and Matt Fitzpatrick is currently leading. Scotty Scheffler and Rory McIlroy are tied right now. Patrick Cantley and Ludwig Aberg is currently in the favor of Ludwig. I think I'm saying that right. And then Xander Shuffle? I think it's Shuffle, is ahead of John Rahm. JJ Spawn is ahead of Sepp Straka as well. And Russell Henley is behind Shane Lowry, I should say. Ben Griffin is ahead of Rasmus Hogard. I think I'm saying that right. Sorry, Rasmus, if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. Colin Moriwaka is ahead of Tyrell Hatton. Sam Burns is losing, I should say, to Robert McIntyre. I think I'm saying that right. And Harris English and Victor Hovland tied their match as well. So there's a little update for all you golf fans out there. I know this isn't necessarily a PGA Tour match or isn't part of the PGA Tour, but it's still one of the most prestigious golf events there is in the world right now. I remember when the Ryder Cup actually a couple years ago was here in Wisconsin. Actually, I think it was up in I forget what course it was. Was it Whistling Straits? I think it was Whistling Straits. I might be completely wrong about that. But I remember that was like 2 or 3 or 4 years ago. I think the Ryder Cup was here in Wisconsin. That's all I really remember, and that's kind of how I know about the Ryder Cup because my dad went to go see it while I went to school, and one of my friends ended up skipping school to go to the Ryder Cup as well. Completely off topic there, but there's a little bit of an update on the Ryder Cup for you guys. Next story, gotta talk about the NBA real quick. Fred VanVleet, the all-star point guard for the Houston Rockets, it was announced earlier this week that he has a torn ACL and will miss the entirety of the season. So that is very tough news to hear. Fred VanVleet is a very, very, very good point guard in the NBA. Very good shooter, even though he is not the biggest guy out there. I think he's only 6 feet tall. He's not even as tall as Steph Curry, but he's a little bit bigger, a little bit wider, I will say. So Fred VanVleet is able to make a difference on the court. Big hero of the 2019 NBA Finals with the Toronto Raptors. Now with the Houston Rockets, he's been very, very solid these last couple seasons, but now with that torn ACL, it's gonna be very tough for the Rockets, especially since they traded Jalen Green. So that guard area is maybe looking a little bit scarce, I will say. But they did just add Kevin Durant. They still got Jabari Smith Jr. Alfred Sengun is still there on the team as well. So they do have guys to lock up the backcourt. I will say that. Though for the guards, I am a little concerned to say the least. I am a little concerned to say the least. But other than KD, Alfred Sengun, and as well Jabari Smith Jr., they got Amen Thompson is also there. I believe Dorian Finney-Smith just signed a huge contract to join the team as well. Aaron Holiday, Drew Holiday's brother, is also there as well. So I thought I'd shout him out, I should say. Reed Shepherd is there as well. I would expect Reed Shepherd to probably be the guy that would take over that starting point guard job. Amen Thompson probably be the small forward or shooting guard. Then I expect you probably have either Dorian Finney-Smith or Jabari Smith Jr. probably be that small forward, I believe. Or then you got KDB power forward, and then Alfred Sengun being the center. So I will say the Rockets do have some solid depth at their in their roster, and who's not to say they won't go get someone else on the market. Maybe they'll pick up someone else because there's definitely some good guards out on the free agent market that haven't been signed. They can always trade for a guard, pick someone else up on waivers as well. So the Rockets have options, and I severely doubt that this will be a dagger that severely limits them throughout this year. So very tough for Fred VanVleet. Hope he recovers very, very soon. Now moving on to the MLB side of things, as the regular season is coming to a close, and something that we've neglected to talk about is some of the big division chokes that we've seen over the course of this whole season. It kind of started with the Chicago Cubs losing the division by 6.5 games to the Milwaukee Brewers. The Cubs, of course, do have a playoff spot. The Los Angeles Dodgers have kind of choked away their lead. The Padres are right on their doorstep, I would say. I do think the Dodgers, though, have that division pretty much locked up, though, by 2 games, though. So the Dodgers have not looked as, I would say, dominant as they have compared to last year when they won the World Series as well. The Mets led the division by quite a lot over the Phillies, but now have since fallen to about 12 games out of the division and are right now almost choking a wild card spot to the Cincinnati Reds, who the Brewers are currently playing right now. And the Reds control their own destiny as to how they get into the playoffs. If the Mets lose and the Reds win, they are in. Even if the Reds or the Mets win, the Reds win as well, the Reds will get in because the Reds do hold the tiebreaker over the New York Mets. The Detroit Tigers had like a 7-game lead over the Cleveland Guardians for second place, and the Tigers early in the year had the best record in baseball, but they have blown that lead, and the Guardians were able to tie up the division, I would say. I think on Friday night they tied the division with the Detroit Tigers at the cost of losing David Fry. Hope David Fry gets well very, very soon. He was hit in the face by Tarek Skubal, but I think that kind of shook Skubal, I'm not going to lie. So very, very tough for David Fry, but the Guardians were able to claw their way back into the contention. They clinched a playoff spot and right now are battling with the Tigers for that division win. It's going to be very, very close. Both are going to be in the playoffs. We just don't know who's going to have that division win. Some other stories in baseball on Saturday night last night, the Milwaukee Brewers, my Milwaukee Brewers, and Miles' Milwaukee Brewers, I should say, they did clinch the best record in baseball with 96 wins. They can get 97 today, and they are currently underway here in Milwaukee against the Cincinnati Reds to maybe spoil the Reds' playoff hopes for a chance at a wild card. And the Brewers can break the franchise win record at 96 with their 97th win today. We'll just have to wait and see how that all unfolds. And the Reds, once again, can win their way into the playoffs. They control their destiny, and they have to win today to still have a chance. So maybe the Brewers can play spoiler. But the Milwaukee Brewers are going to have the best record in baseball with the Philadelphia Phillies losing to the Minnesota Twins last night. Where were you when you heard the statement, the Milwaukee Brewers had the best record in baseball? Not the Phillies, not the Dodgers, not the Yankees. The Yankees are another team that choked their division away. The Blue Jays also kind of choked it twice, or choked it as well. So now those two teams are battling for the AL East division right now. So I thought I mentioned that real quick. So where were you when you heard that statement? The Brewers have the best record in baseball. Where were you when you heard that? When I heard that, I was in a car driving back from an ice cream shop. That's where I heard it from. I heard that the Brewers had the best record in baseball and not the Phillies. So thought I just mentioned that. It's where I was when I heard that. But the Milwaukee Brewers do have the best record in baseball. That is very, very cool, especially for me as a Brewers fan. Hopefully, they can make it farther than actually they did make it farther than the wild card series this year because they don't have to play in it. So suck it, Chicago Cubs and Chicago fans. And then hopefully we can make it to the NLCS again. This would be the first time we would be to the championship series since 2018, where we lost in Game 7 to the LA Dodgers. So maybe we can get there once again. We have the Phillies number. Who knows what can happen? So, but that's all like the big playoff stuff as the regular season wraps up today. As for some other news today, earlier this week, the MLB announced that the ABS system, the automatic ball system, would be implemented into the MLB for the full 2026 season. Now, for those of you who aren't aware, the ABS system, the automatic ball system, was tested out in spring training and the All-Star game this year in the MLB level, but has been used for the last 2 seasons, I believe, in the minor leagues. So, how it works is that there will still be active human umpires on the field calling balls and strikes, and this will only just be for balls and strikes, guys, not for outs on the play, not decisions out on the field, like if it's fair or foul or if a guy's out at first or second. It's not gonna be like that. It's just for balls and strikes to help kind of regulate the calls and make the calls a little bit more fair and a little bit more better in that regard. So the automatic ball system will is just basically a robot that measures the strike zone, and if the umpire makes a call that the hitter, pitcher, or catcher does not agree with, one of those three players can tap their head to challenge the call, and the call can be overturned or kept the same. And each team has 2 challenges per game with the automatic ball system, and those are not connected to the challenges on the field that they will use uh, during the game. So, like if a call is out at first, but they challenge that play, and he's safe, they will retain that challenge. It will be completely different from the automatic ball strike system challenges. So, hitter, pitcher, or catcher can tap their head to challenge the play, and they can look at that on the video board. And if the call is overturned, and they get to keep their challenge. If it is remains the same, their challenge is unsuccessful. They lose that challenge and only have one challenge remaining. So, I hope that will kind of make the hitters and pitchers think about when to challenge, which is a good thing because I think if you give them unlimited challenges, that would immediately ruin the game. But I do like that you're giving them limits on the challenges, and it's a limited amount, so it will make them think about when they want to challenge a ball or strike call. So I really like that, and I think this automatic ball system will also help the game of baseball um, gradually get a little bit more popular because now you won't have umpires making these borderline, really bad calls, I should say, like Angel Hernandez won't be making those bad calls anymore. He's not in baseball anymore, but you won't have Angel Hernandez type characters making those types of bad calls. So maybe that will help give baseball a little bit more popularity. We saw what it did for the pitch clock when the pitch clock was implemented. I think there was a 5% viewership increase, which is the biggest that's been in like a decade. And that's like the biggest it's been over year increase. So maybe this could be the same thing. I'm really excited to see how this automatic ball system will do. And I'm a little bit concerned about the problems that it may have, but realistically, I don't know how many problems there are. So we'll just have to wait and see how the automatic ball system will do in 2026. And again, leave your comments down below what you think of the implementation of the automatic ball system for Major League Baseball. Does this mean you'll go see more Major League Baseball games? I may not see as much as this year because I had some free tickets, but I still am gonna go want to go see some baseball games because I think that'll be really, really cool. But now let's go ahead and move on to talk about the NFL and specifically Week 3. I'm gonna go over all the games, and Miles, if you want to comment or take this episode down, feel free to do so once again. But looking at the first game, the Buffalo Bills versus Miami Dolphins, Bills would end up winning this at home, moving to 3-0. Dolphins to 0-3. Bills win 31-21. Some standout performances from the Dolphins. Tua Tagovailoa had 2 touchdowns. He also had an interception as well. Only had 22 for 34, 146 yards. Ollie Gordon scored, I believe, his first career touchdown on 9 carries for 38 yards as well. Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle also caught 2 touchdowns as well. And besides that, not much going else on for the Miami Dolphins. But for the Buffalo Bills, taking a look at the Bills, Josh Allen completed 22 for 28 passes, 213 yards and 3 touchdowns as well. James Cook was outstanding once again, 19 carries, 108 yards, and a 1 touchdown as well. Dalton Kincaid caught a touchdown as well. Khalil Shakir also had a touchdown. Jackson Hawes also had a touchdown as well on 1 catch, but for 5 yards, he caught a touchdown. Terrell Bernard had an interception as well for the Buffalo Bills as well. Very good all-around game for the Bills as the Bills move to 3-0 on the season. Next game I gotta talk about here. Sorry, my lineup just went away completely. Next game was the Cincinnati Bengals heading to Minnesota to take on the Vikings. Vikings ended up winning 48-10 against Jake Browning and the Cincinnati Bengals. For the Bengals, you had Jake Browning going 19 for 27, 140 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 interceptions. That was not a good day overall for them. And the only touchdown that was scored for the Cincinnati Bengals was Drew Sample with that 1 touchdown, 2 receptions for 20 yards. Jamar Chase had 5 receptions for 50 yards. Just couldn't get anything overall going. Chase Brown had 10 carries for 3 yards. Abysmal day for Chase Brown, I will say that. For the Vikings, Carson Wentz came in off the bench to fill in for J.J. McCarthy. Is also in as well for this week as well. He ended up losing to the Pittsburgh Steelers once again. Sorry, spoilers there real quick. But Wentz completed 14 for 20 completions, I should say, 173 yards and 2 touchdowns. Jordan Mason did most of the work, 16 carries, 116 yards, and 2 touchdowns while filling in for Aaron Jones, who went on IR this past week. TJ Hawkinson caught a touchdown, and Josh Oliver also caught a touchdown on his lone catch as well. Josh Metellus caught an interception as well. Isaiah Rodgers picked off Jake Browning once again. Isaiah Rodgers had an incredible game on the defensive side of things. So really good day overall for the Vikings. Very well-rounded game, kind of similar to how the Buffalo Bills competed last week. Next game, the Houston Texans taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars. In Jacksonville, Jaguars would end up beating the Texans 17-10, and the Jaguars moved to 2-1, while the Texans moved to 0-3. Not really looking good for the Texans right now. CJ Stroud went 25 for 38, 204 yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. Yikes, not what that Houston Texans team wants to see. Nico Collins caught a touchdown once again, but that would be the only touchdown for the Houston Texans. For the Jacksonville Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence completed 20 for 40, 222 yards, and an interception. No touchdowns. Travis Etienne will get a touchdown, and Bashaw Tutin would also have another touchdown. But besides that, very boring kind of game overall. But the Texans' defense could not slow down the Jaguars, and the Jaguars' defense surprisingly could slow down the Texans. I was not expecting that. But the O-line for the Texans may just be that bad. Texans fans, I am so sorry. Hopefully your O-line gets better. Moving on to the Indianapolis Colts versus the Tennessee Titans, division rivals in Tennessee. Colts would end up winning 41-20, moving to 3-0. Titans down to 0-3. Daniel Jones, Indiana Jones, completed 18 for 25, 228 yards, and 1 touchdown. But Jonathan Taylor, how about Jonathan Taylor? JT is back, I would say. 17 carries, 102 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Where did this come from Jonathan Taylor? I think this is why the Colts are really succeeding how they are, because with Jonathan Taylor, it's a very efficient run offense. Daniel Jones is able to kind of check down with guys like Michael Pittman, Alec Pierce, Tyler Warren, Josh Downs. JT can also get mixed in there. You got Tyler Goodson. That's a very, very, very good offensive run game and very well kind of efficient offensive game, I should say. So I really like that for the Indianapolis Colts. That is why probably they are succeeding. I know I asked that question in the intro, but I think we now know why the Colts are succeeding the way they are, because they got Jonathan Taylor anchoring that running game, and they got Daniel Jones just able to complete checkdowns and able to get them into range, and that's how Jonathan Taylor can move them forward. So there's the Indianapolis Colts. For the Tennessee Titans, Cam Ward, sorry, I almost said it by his formal name. Sorry, Cam Ward, 23 for 38, 219 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Tony Pollard rushed for a touchdown, 16 for 45. And then Alec Ayomaner? Ayomaner? I don't know how to say his name. Sorry, guys. The Titans have just so many weird names. They got their leading receiver was Chigoziem Okonokwo. That's one I can actually pronounce. He caught 5 receptions for 66 yards, but Ayomaner caught a touchdown, 4 for 38 as well. Next up, we got the Las Vegas Raiders versus Washington Commanders in Landover, Maryland. Commanders would end up winning 41-24 without Jaden Daniels, by the way. So that is a huge victory. For the Raiders, Geno Smith went 19 for 29, 289 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Ashton Genty could not get anything going. But Trey Tucker, holy cow, 8 receptions, 145 yards, and 3 touchdowns. That is absolutely insane. 3 touchdowns, all scored by Trey Tucker. I have no words to describe everything I just heard, and all the other points came from kicking. Daniel Carlson, brother of Anders Carlson, by the way, the failed Packers kicker. Anders Carlson got the other 4 points. So, but that was actually just an insane game overall for this Las Vegas Raiders team. As for the Commanders, without Jaden Daniels, Marcus Mariota was able to anchor that offense, 15 for 21, 207 yards, and a touchdown. Jeremy McNichols, 4 carries, 78 yards, also had a touchdown. Mariota had a rushing touchdown as well. Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt also got a touchdown as well. Luke McCaffrey caught the sole receiving touchdown for the Washington Commanders on 3 receptions for 56 yards. And Terry McLaurin also had 3 receptions for 74 yards as well. So that's a look at the Commanders. No interceptions as well for that entire team. Jalen Lane. Got to mention this real quick. Jalen Lane also had a punt return touchdown as well. On one of his returns, was able to score a touchdown. And Matt Gay also had a pretty good game on the kicking side of things. Next up, Rams versus Eagles in Philadelphia. This was a crazy game, and they were one of the games that had a blocked field goal that would end up winning them the game. So the Rams ended up falling to the Eagles 26-33. Eagles moved to 3-0. Rams moved to 2-1. For the Rams, Matthew Stafford went 19 for 33, 196 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. Kyron Williams, 20 for 94, 20 carries for 94 yards, no touchdowns, unfortunately. Devontae Adams had a really good catch from Matthew Stafford. It was like a 44-yard touchdown, 3 receptions for a touchdown. And then Kyron Williams also had a receiving touchdown. I meant to say that he didn't have any rushing touchdowns. He had a receiving touchdown as well. Looking at for the Eagles, Jalen Hurts, 21 for 32, 226 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Really good day for Jalen Hurts. He also had a rushing touchdown. Saquon Barkley, though, was pretty much locked down by that Rams defense on 18 carries. For the receiving things, A.J. Brown went 6 receptions for 109 yards, 1 touchdown. Devontae Smith, 8 receptions for a touchdown. And Dallas Goedert had 1 reception, but that was his touchdown. As for the defense, Jordan Davis was able to block a field goal. Actually, he didn't block the field goal. He was able to return a blocked field goal all the way for the touchdown and was able to seal the game for the Philadelphia Eagles on a field goal that would have given the Rams the win. So the Eagles moved to 3-0, 33-26 is your final score once again. Now moving on, the Atlanta Falcons versus the Carolina Panthers. This was a tough game to watch if you were a Falcons fan. Let's start with the Falcons. Michael Penix did not have a good game. 18 for 36, 172 yards, and 2 interceptions. It got so bad for him that they had to take him out for Kirk Cousins, who went 5 for 7 for 29 yards as well. No touchdowns as well. Nothing really to talk about to write home for the Falcons. And their defense wasn't much better. They gave up 30 points to the Panthers and Bryce Young. Bryce Young went 16 for 24, 121 yards. Didn't really do much on the passing side of things. Mostly kind of did checkdowns, I would say. But he did have a rushing touchdown as well. Rico Dowdle, 10 carries for 30 yards. Also had a touchdown. Chuba Hubbard, 17 carries for 73 yards. And that was all that really happened for the Panthers. They had 2 touchdowns, so that was 14 points. And the rest came from the kicking, pretty much. Ryan Fitzgerald, 12 points, 3 for 3 on field goals. His long was 57 yards, and nothing really else going for the team. Mike Jackson and Shao Smith-Wade were able to get 2 interceptions. I think those were the other 2 touchdowns. All right, I didn't watch the full game. I think Miles would probably tell me what happened, but I didn't watch the full game. I watched enough to see how Bryce Young played and how he was able to run, but I watched Rico Dowdle also score a touchdown, but I did not see the interceptions as well. Next up, we had the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the New England Patriots in Foxborough. The Steelers would end up getting the win 21-14 over the Patriots, moving to 2-1 while the Patriots moved down to 1-2. Looking at the stats for the Patriots, Aaron Rodgers went 16 for 23, 139 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Kenneth Gainwell on the ground had 4 carries, 16 yards, and also had a touchdown. Calvin Austin caught a touchdown as well. DK Metcalf also had the touchdown, while Jalen Warren was the leading receiver. Brandon Ecolis had an interception for the defense, I should say, and there was also a forced fumble by the Steelers. Sorry, I'm a complete mess with this game, but it was ended up being a touchdown as well on that fumble play. For the Patriots, Drake May went 28 for 37, 268 yards, two interception, two touchdowns, and one interception. Sorry. Hunter Henry went 8 receptions, 90 yards, and two touchdowns as well. Unfortunately, it was not enough for the Patriots to get over the hump and beat the Steelers. Next up, we got to talk about the Green Bay Packers versus Cleveland Browns. Oh, I wish we did not have to talk about this game, but I have to. I would not be a good podcaster if I didn't. The Browns would end up winning 13-10 over the Green Bay Packers in game-winning fashion on a game-winning field goal after they blocked a game-leading field goal from Brandon McManus. Yeah, this was not a good game to watch as a Packers fan. I'm going to break it down overall. But for the Packers, Jordan Love went 18 for 25, 183 yards, one touchdown, and also had an interception. His first interception of the season. He's been so good to start the season, but not the case here. Josh Jacobs had 16 carries for 30 yards, just could not really get anything going on the ground, and the lone touchdown came from John Fitzpatrick, 2 receptions for 12 yards. The Packers overall just did not play a good game. Their offense could not really get going. Their defense did everything they could and frankly did the best out of anybody. They played a really good game. They only limited the Browns to 13 points, which in hindsight is maybe not that great because the Browns offense probably isn't that good being led by Joe Flacco. Like maybe I think Quinshawn Judkins is really, really good. But Joe Flacco as the quarterback, I mean, I don't know how to feel about that with how that quarterback room and saying that quarterback room overall is just not very good. But the Packers offense could not really get anything going. That Cleveland Browns defense was just so good. For the Browns, Joe Flacco went 21 for 36, 142 yards, no touchdowns, and an interception. Quinshawn Judkins got his first touchdown of his NFL career, 18 carries, 94 yards, and a touchdown. Nothing really going on the passing side of things. David Njoku, the big tight end, was the leading receiver, 5 receptions for 4 yards. But the defense for the Cleveland Browns was just so good. Carson Schweichinger had the most tackles, tied with Grant Delpit, who also had the interception that picked off Jordan Love. Denzel Ward was a just constant, just menace on the field as well. Schweichinger also had a sack, by the way. Myles Garrett and Malik Collins also had some sacks. Aiden Huntington also had a sack. Alex Wright had a sack. Mason Graham got half a sack. It was just not a good day overall for the Packers. They had so many injuries. Aaron Banks had to leave the game with an injury. Zach Tom and his torn oblique had to try to get in there, but ended up getting hurt on the first snap. Anthony Belton really wasn't available that day. They just didn't have enough of an O-line to really hold down the fort. And plus, constant penalties from Jordan Morgan on the offensive line and penalties overall for the entire team just cost us. This looked like the team last year that did not do very good last year. This looked like the 2024 Green Bay Packers, and it was not a great year. It was still a good year for them last year, but it could have been so much better if they had a little bit more maturity. But from my standpoint, it's only week 3. We still got a whole nother week. We got a game coming up tonight against the Dallas Cowboys. I think this will be a really telling game. If the Packers play really well against the Cowboys, I think we really will know what kind of team this team is. Next up, we had the New York Jets versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Tampa. This was a crazy game. I'm not gonna lie. The Jets ended up losing to the Buccaneers after getting a game-winning field goal and getting a game-winning field goal after blocking a field goal. 27-29. Buccaneers would end up getting the win. Buccaneers moved to 3-0. Jets to 0-3. Looking at the stats, Tyrod Taylor in relief for Justin Fields went 26 for 36, 197 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. And Garrett Wilson caught a touchdown, 10 receptions for 84 yards. Allen Lazard also caught a touchdown, 2 receptions, 13 yards, and a touchdown. And the defense, Harrison Phillips got half a sack. But besides that, it was just not a good day overall for the defense. On the special team side of things were a little bit better. They were able to block some field goals. Their kick returning was pretty good. Nick Folk nailed all the field goals, was pretty good. And of course, they blocked that field goal and ended up kicking the field goal of their own, but the Buccaneers ended up coming all the way back down the field to get the win. So that's how the Buccaneers are just winning games right now. They're just able to march down the field on last drives, and they're able to get the victories. It's just so insane how they're doing it, but they're getting it done somehow. For the Buccaneers, Baker Mayfield went 19 for 29, 233 yards, and 1 touchdown. Bucky Irving, 25 carries for 66 yards. he needs to get it going, especially since he's on my fantasy team. I really want Bucky to do really, really well. But if he wants to be helping that Buccaneers team, if they want to win the games more easily, Bucky Irving does really need to get it going. On the receiving side of things, Mike Evans caught the touchdown, 4 receptions, 33 yards, and 1 touchdown. And besides that, not really much else doing. Jameel Dean also had an interception for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Chase McLaughlin had a couple field goals, scored 17 points out of the 29, so he was a big part of the Buccaneers offense as well. Next up, we have the Los Angeles Chargers versus the Denver Broncos in LA at SoFi Stadium. The Chargers would end up winning 23-20 over the division rival Broncos as they move to 3-0, while the Broncos fall to 1-2. For the Broncos, Bo Nix went 14 for 25, 153 yards and a touchdown. J.K. Dobbins continues to be just so good, even though he can never stay healthy. 11 carries, 83 yards, and a touchdown. Cortland Sutton went 6 receptions, 118 yards, and a touchdown as well. And then Brandon Jones had an interception, not the NASCAR driver, the defender for the Denver Broncos, had 6 tackles, also had an interception as well. The defense played all right for the Broncos. As for the Chargers, Justin Herbert went 28 for 47, 300 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. Omarion Hampton went 19 carries, 70 yards, and 1 touchdown. And then on the receiving side of things, Quentin Johnston was the leading receiver, 6 receptions for 89 yards, while Keenan Allen, in his return to Los Angeles, went 7 receptions, 65 yards, and a touchdown as well. Really good game overall for the team. Derwin James had 10 tackles on the day, had a sack as well. Troy Dye also had a sack as well on one of his tackles. Really good day overall for the defense of the Chargers. One tough break, though, was Najee Harris, who went down with a torn ACL. He will be probably out for the season. It's been a rough couple months for Najee Harris. First had that eye injury, had a lot of rumors swirling around him, but now he has that knee injury. Tough break for Najee Harris. They're gonna have to definitely lean on Omari and Hampton, or just let Justin Herbert keep passing. I will take each other anyway. I hope that they let Justin Herbert pass more because I need Keenan Allen to do really good for my fantasy team. Next game, we have the New Orleans Saints versus Seattle Seahawks in Seattle. Seahawks ended up winning 44-13, moved to 2-1, while the Saints back down to 0-3. For the Saints, Spencer Rattler coming off a really good game last week. 28 for 39, 218 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception as well. Alvin Kamara could not really get anything going on the ground game. Jack Stoll caught the only touchdown for these New Orleans Saints, 2 receptions, 21 yards, and a touchdown. But that was really the only thing going for the New Orleans Saints. For the Seahawks, Sam Darnold went 14 for 18, 218 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Drew Lock actually got in a little bit game time, also passed for 2 completions out of 15 yards as well. Kenneth Walker had a big day on the ground, 16 carries, 38 yards, but 2 touchdowns. I know the carries to yards ratio wasn't that good, but 2 touchdowns is still very good for Kenneth Walker. On the receiving side of things, Jackson Smith and Jigba, 5 receptions, 96 yards, and a touchdown. Torrey Horton, also 3 receptions, 32 yards, and 1 touchdown as well. Cooper Kupp also had a pretty solid game as well. And looking at that, Darian Kendrick also had an interception for the Seattle Seahawks. And then on the punt returns, once again, Torrey Horton had a touchdown on a punt return. Really good day for him. And Jason Myers also had 14 points on the kicking side of things for the Seattle Seahawks. Next up, we had a really bad game for Packers fans. You had the Dallas Cowboys versus the Chicago Bears, 2 teams that we really do not like, but one had to win, and it had to be the Chicago Bears, our division rival. Thanks a lot, Cowboys. I guess the Micah Parsons trade was the only thing that you got right this year, but looking at the stats, Dak Prescott went 31 for 40, 251 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 interceptions. Joel Milton also got in some game time, also had an interception, 3 of 5 for completions, 41 yards. Javonte Williams did not look as explosive as these past couple weeks, 10 carries of 76 yards. On the receiving side of things, George Pickens, 5 receptions for 1 touchdown without CeeDee Lamb in the game. Jake Ferguson also caught 13 catches for 82 yards, but no touchdowns as well. And the defense, could not really do anything. They let up 31 points from the Chicago Bears. Definitely not what you want to see. For the Bears, this was a very good game for Caleb Williams. I'm just going to say that. Caleb Williams went 19 for 28, 298 yards, 4 touchdowns, and no interceptions. Run game, pretty much non-existent for the most part. Luther Burden, 3 receptions, 101 yards, and 1 touchdown. Roma Dunze, another week with a touchdown, 3 receptions, 62 yards, and a touchdown. And then DJ Moore, 4 receptions, 21 yards, and a touchdown. Cole Kmet, 1 reception, 10 yards, and a touchdown as well. Tremaine Edmonds also had 2 interceptions. Kevin Byard had an interception as well. Tremaine Edmonds was also the leading tackler along with Noah Sewell and Deshaun Wright. Really good day overall for the Chicago Bears, as much as I hate to say it. Yeah, the Chicago Bears had a good game, and I am sick to my stomach after saying that. Another game that we got to go through that I am very sad to bring to you guys. We had the Arizona Cardinals versus San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers would end up winning 16-15 over the Cardinals after getting a game-winning field goal from Eddie Pinheiro. For the Arizona Cardinals, Kyler Murray went 22 for 35, 159 yards and a touchdown. Nothing really going for the run game. Trey McBride, 5 receptions, 43 yards, and 1 touchdown. Marvin Harrison Jr. did struggle. 3 receptions, 44 yards, no touchdowns as well. Dadrian Taylor Demerson had an interception. That is a crazy name, but he had an interception for the Arizona Cardinals. As for the 49ers, Mac Jones went 27 for 41, 284 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. Christian McCaffrey on the ground, kind of locked down, to be honest. 17 carries, 52 yards, no touchdowns. On the receiving side of things, Kyle Juszczyk had a touchdown, got a reception for 1 yard, caught a touchdown, and that's all really the 49ers needed. The rest of the points came from the kicking. Eddie Pinheiro kicked 10 points across the board for the San Francisco 49ers, and that was a game that I did not want to talk about. It was an ugly game, and that's just really, really a bad game. But the 49ers still 3-0. Cardinals now down to 2-1. Now we move on to the final 2 games of the week. We have the New York Giants versus the Kansas City Chiefs in New York, and it's safe to say the Chiefs were able to handle business. The Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes went 22 for 37, 224 yards and a touchdown. Kareem Hunt also scored another touchdown, 10 carries for 34 yards. Pacheco still does not have a touchdown. And Tyquan Thornton, 5 receptions, 71 yards, and 1 touchdown, was their leading receiver. They also had 2 interceptions. Jalen Watson ended up getting an interception, and Christian Roland Wallace had an interception as well. And the rest of the points came from Harrison Butker. That's all that really happened for the Kansas City Chiefs. They finally get their first win on the season, while the Giants move to 0-3. For the Giants, Russell Wilson went 18 for 32, 160 yards, and 2 interceptions, and gets benched in exchange for Jackson Dart getting the start. Cameron Scadaboo, 10 carries, 60 yards, and a touchdown for the Giants, and nothing really happened on the passing side of things, and not really on the defense. Graham Gano had 1 kick for a field goal, and that was 3 points. Not a very good day for the New York Giants on the offensive side of things. And of course, Jackson Dart is now getting the start. Jackson Dart also had a pretty solid game. A little spoilers for week 4, but Jackson Dart off to a pretty solid start. But Malik Neighbors did go down with an injury today. So we'll see how the Giants can do for the rest of the game. But that's a look at the Chiefs and Giants. 22-9. Chiefs end up getting the victory in New York or New Jersey, whichever one you prefer. And finally, we have the Monday Night Football game, the Lions versus Ravens in Baltimore. This was a great game. Starting out with the Lions, Jared Goff went 20 for 28 completions, 202 yards, and 1 touchdown. David Montgomery on the ground had 12 carries, 151 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Jahmyr Gibbs on the ground as well, 22 carries, 67 yards, nice, and 2 touchdowns. And for the receiving side of things, Amon-Ra St. Brown's 7 receptions for 77 yards, nice again, and 1 touchdown. And on the side of things, Jack Campbell had 8 tackles, 8 solo tackles. How about that? And also had a sack. Alquandin Muhammad had 2.5 sacks as well. Aiden Hutchinson had a sack. Alex Anzalone had half a sack. Nowski had a sack as well. Really good game overall for the Detroit Lions defense and offense. Were able to just barely squeak by the Baltimore Ravens. And as for the Ravens, Lamar Jackson went 21 for 27, 288 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Derrick Henry on the ground had 12 carries, 50 yards, and a touchdown. Also had another fumble, I believe. That's not good if you're a Ravens fan. Mark Andrews on the receiving side of things had 6 receptions, 91 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Mark Andrews, could this be the game or the week that revives it a little bit more? Rashad Bateman also had a touchdown, 5 receptions for 63 yards. This was a great game. Really good offensive shootout. The defenses played pretty solid. The Ravens were not nearly as explosive. Didn't have any sacks compared to how many sacks the Lions have. But Either way, this was a very good game, very good way to end off week 3, heading on to week 4, which is already underway. We already had some games get underway, but we'll save that for next week. How about that? But there you go. That is a recap of week 3 of the NFL. Hope you enjoyed that one. Went a little bit longer than I want to, but here we are on today on Sunday. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode, though. Leave a like if you're listening on YouTube and subscribe to the channel as well. Go check out my other show, Talking NASCAR with Andrew Volkman. If you are new to NASCAR or have been around NASCAR and watched it a lot, go check it out. It's a really good place to talk about NASCAR. That I do. I do the talking about NASCAR. I will say that. But that's going to do it for me today, guys. Hope you enjoyed today's episode. For my buddy Miles Shield and my co-host, I'm Andrew Volkman. Thank you for tuning in for today's episode, and I will see you in the next episode. Have a great day, everybody.